you, Dan.
You can go for the other one.
Yeah.
Okay, gentlemen, we are live. Welcome aboard THP. We are going to break down everything and get you ready for the granddaddy of them all. The granddaddy is Grandaddy Week here on THP, which is one of the best times of the year. To help me break this down, I am joined by multiple event veteran, winner of the 2018 THP Championship, who knows something about best ball, because this man shot a 29 on the back during best ball to come from three back to win the THP Championship. Not any granddaddy experience, but multiple team event veteran, illiterate, joins us.
Appreciate the intro. And
Okay.
look at Dan showing off his
and
belt.
And I'm going to introduce second. He is well known by the THP universe. He is the host of what we listen to every Friday, Off Course. He is a 3-1 Grandaddy record, and he is the captain that put the 1 in 6-1. Canadan is here.
Sick, and he's sick as hell too.
Yes, but he cannot be deterred. He cannot be deterred.
The one real introduction here?
Yeah, go ahead. I haven't.
Coke Zero. This is for shout outs to V Golf Man out there, our good friend. Coke Zero.
They're off the bus by now, right?
Should be.
I think so. They should be. I'm here. Bus ride in spirit. Okay, bus ride in spirit, people. The G on the back. Thanks to Jay Sizzle. That was something that went on in his bus ride. And I'll introduce myself. My name's JDax.
Can I do this?
Yeah, you want to introduce me? I mean,
all right. Introducing JDax. There's nothing interesting about him. He's been at a Grandaddy before.
Mm-hmm.
It went really, really good. So well that he has become a major topic of discussion as the event continues to live on in his shadow.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll
host of the odds. Listen, this is my time, not yours, okay?
Okay.
The odds maker extraordinaire, the man behind the numbers, the guy who makes you cry. Whoa, that was really good. All right, I'm done. That was way too good.
I'd like to state for the record, before we get started, that my singles loss was not the worst loss in Grandaddy's history. There were two others. In fact, there were two others that were worse.
It was the third worst. So there's two worse. There's
two worse than that. The combined Grandaddy record of this preview show is 3-5. So and 1-1 in singles. So we've just set the stage.
Excuse me?
Yeah, I mean, you won and I lost. So our combined, this three-man boost combined record is 3-5 and 1-1 in singles.
And mine is 0-0-0.
Right. Unblemished record. So let's get started. We have a lot to unpack here. So let's get started. It's a big week. It's Grandaddy week. I look forward to this all the time. I'll start with the literate first. First, why is the Grandaddy special for someone that has never been to the hideaway or out there? But why is it special for the home team?
So for me, I think I have a little bit of a unique perspective as I got to kind of live vicariously through you back in was it 17 when you went, or 17, right?
2017.
Yeah. So, I got to do like all the prep leading up to it with you and kind of experience that. But for the people that are at home that may not have like a best friend or good friend that's going, THP is the only place you get this opportunity. It's the best amateur event, in the world. So why would you not want to follow along, see these guys get fit for equipment, get all this swag, and you have that same opportunity. So I mean, it's just words can't describe it. I mean, I'm kind of talking from the outside in here, and I know you guys will have a little bit different perspective, but for me, it's just a lot of fun to watch, having been to different THP experiences and then seeing this one, how unique it is. All expenses paid. I mean, it's truly the best, amateur event that you could possibly fathom. I mean, wow.
Dan, why is it special to you, man?
I mean, how do you get started with that? It's a bag full of stuff. Like, so I'm taking the shades off for this because it's legit. So these guys got together, and some of them have been waiting for a year and a half or more to make this happen. And they get off the plane sort of together. A couple went early, and they had fun night one, like night zero, I guess we can call it. And then they've, from that point, had their minds blown. So, like, what else is there to say? We just saw this afternoon they're hanging out with the CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company, taking questions. We saw my guy Neil X-Thor whispering sweet nothings to Sean Toulon for about an hour and a half, which, outside of this event probably would never happen. So, and we're not even halfway through, right? Mm-hmm. Like, it's all encompassing insanity for an amateur golfer.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's special to me for a variety of reasons. I remember when I got my ticket punched. Literally, you'll remember this. When I found out my wife was in the hospital on it was like 7 of a 14-day deal where she had an infection she couldn't kick, and it was really a bad moment. And then I was the 4th person in 2017 to get their ticket punched. Finley lulled me into calling him out after a horrific 93 at Hype that year. And then Mike goaded me into calling him out, but to try to become a legend. But no, we're going to talk a lot about the competition, and I agree with everything that Dan said, but I think that it's very important that the Grandaddy transcends anything that has to do with the competition. We don't have the best record. We'll get to that in a second. But it's the premier amateur event, bar none, on our calendar. And it was canceled last year due to COVID. And there was just a little bit of melancholy. Like, the Granddaddy's not happening this year. The Grandmama got canceled. To me, it's very special. And I think it's special for anyone that's ever been, that's ever represented the G. Because when you see the key or the G, you know what that stands for. It stands for excellence. It stands for top-notch treatment, top-notch company. Everything that goes into the Grandaddy makes it super, super special. Let's talk about our history. I'm segueing. We don't have the greatest history. Okay.
1-6.
Yeah. But we do have the guy that put the 1 and 6 and 1. It started in 2013. This is the 8th time that a group of lunatic fringe, guys like me that order clubs just to pull the head, like I did the other day, right? Pull the head, put a different shaft in it. We've arrived there 7 times before now, and we've only walked out with 1 win, and honestly, only 3 day 2s have been within striking range. 2013, 11-5. That was an 8-person event. 2014. Tied at the end of day 1 at 7.5 all. I'm sorry. They jumped us in singles. They won 7 of the 10 matches. We lost 14.5 to 10.5. 2015, we lost 21.5 to 8.5. 2016, the watershed moment, down 1 after day 1, 9.5 to 8.5. And then it's the only time that we actually won on singles day, 7-5. Weird thing is that there has never been a halved match in singles at the Grandaddy. No one's ever grinded out a half. Everyone is just either won or lost. 2017, that was my team. It's the worst loss in Grandaddy history. 24.5 to 5.5 in just a beatdown where the Grandaddy was over on day 1. 2018, We had a chance. It was 11-7 at the end of day one. This is Kev. This is the catalyst in them. They went 9-3 the next day and won 20-10. 2019 is 8-4 at the end of day one, and then they took it to us in singles 10-2. We haven't had the greatest history, right? But this team is different. You don't have situations where people only Texas Hackers played twice. All right. So what do they have? I'm going to start with Dan, with Jen in the background on Mike's camera. What do they have to do to turn this around?
Well, let me first say, it's pretty funny how you said the competition is only a small piece of it, but then every time you start talking about it, you get way, way close to the mic, really intense. So let's be clear. For most people, it's not about the competition. For the addict at home, hitting the odds.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's yes, I think it's the most relatable thing to the people that are at home, right? Like most people don't have a putter sitting right there that Sean Toulon handed them, right? Most people weren't sitting
it's
there.
Not even offered, by the way.
No. I think
and then he doesn't even putt with it.
Well, I mean, I got a shot.
He knows what's best for him, right?
No, dude, wait till you see what I've got in the bag now. I got an Atlanta in the bag right now, so get ready. No,
back to the question though.
No, back to the question. Most people aren't going to be sitting there with an X grind wedge in their hand and hear a voice behind them saying, "Put that down. It's wrong for you," and turn around and it's Roger Cleveland, right? Like, so the most relatable thing to the people at home is the competition, and that's why it sort of dominates some of the conversation, I believe.
Okay. So back to the real question, what is it going to take?
What is it going to take?
I think everything I've seen, and I've had an opportunity to hang out with a bunch of the guys here locally. They actually got together in my backyard, so took full opportunity to join up with them, and I just saw an awesome amount of camaraderie. Even you could even sense it from the guys who weren't here. There's just, I think it takes a little bit of something special to go out there and take it to Callaway. I know Callaway's got a strong squad every time they play, but sometimes things happen, things work out, and odds being odds, you catch that one heater for 2 days, and that's that. We've seen it happen before. It's not impossible. At this point, it's just execution, right?
Execution is right. Illiterate. What do you think? What do you think it's going to take to take this belt back?
I think you can't get caught up in the moment, and which is really, really easy to do. It's kind of, I think you probably have a lot of guys that come in and there's just this wow factor of, we're here with Callaway. We're here. We just got fitted for these brand new shiny clubs, and now we're going to play like one of the most beautiful courses on earth. And so it's just a lot. You can easily be overwhelmed, and it's just not getting caught up in that moment and realizing, hey, we're just playing golf at the end of the day, and play your game and have fun. And if you do that, you're going to have a chance at the end of the day. But if you get caught up in the moment, you're going to, and I'm not saying this to make pun, but you might get beat really bad because you're just caught up in the moment and you're not playing within yourself. And that is what I would say it's going to take. Just, hey, don't get caught up in the moment, have fun, enjoy it, embrace it, but don't let it catch up to you. It's just golf at the end of the day.
Let me touch on that real quick before you bounce back, Dax.
Mm-hmm.
This is all about being a captain, right? This is all about putting two guys in a situation where they can play off each other and sort of forget about the big moment. Forget about the fact that some guys who play on the East Coast are now looking at a mountain trying to hit their driver. That's a big deal. Some guys who are not used to playing a private golf course are now playing on a place that is challenging to find a blade of grass that's out of place. Those are things that you can't just prep for on a daily basis at home. You have to have someone to kind of pick you up and put you in a place where you're almost not thinking about it. You can obviously take your moment and look around and smell the roses, but at the same time, that camaraderie, I'm telling you, is going to be a huge factor.
I don't disagree. I mean, I think that at least in my year, we were defending for the first time. There was a lot of pressure to maintain the standard of excellence of team unity, and we just really didn't get it done. But but this is not about me or Dan's year. This is about a new year with a new team, and I think that we'll get to the odds in a second. The odds are flashing at the bottom of the screen. I think I have a special feeling about these guys. For I don't know what it is, because the math on paper, when I was doing the match odds, wasn't great. Because you're dealing with a zoo crew that's the lowest combined cap that they've ever shown up to this place in. So let's move on. Let's talk about, at least Dan and I can talk about this. To me, low key, today was the best. It was my favorite day of my Grandaddy experience. The bus ride, and the performance center. I loved that day, because hope springs eternal at the performance center. You're getting fitted in new clubs. I happen to have the same fitter as Phil. Garrett was my fitter. He was awesome. It was Rogue Pro that year. I love those clubs. I loved everything about it. I loved everything about the performance center and the bus ride. I spent a lot of time with my arch nemesis, Mr. Finley. In fact, I sat next to him for a lot of the bus ride. We just talked about just things, life, things that he had done. It was awesome. Dan, what are your memories of this?
Honestly, and this sounds ridiculous, it was my least favorite day.
Well, y'all won. So.
Well, so here's why. I put way too much pressure on myself as a captain to make sure that every single other guy on my team was doing what they needed to do in a way that was making them happy, to create a memory for themselves. I was so focused on everyone else that the time just disappeared. I love the bus ride. There were a couple guys from Callaway I had a chance to speak to in great length. That was phenomenal. Loved that experience, and everything we did with at Al's house as well. But ECPC has become something so much more over the years. They've learned, they've adapted, they put the emphasis where it needs to be. It was my fault for going way too far, trying to make sure my guys were doing what they do. Every time I look back at it, I think that's the one time I should have just been a little bit selfish, but who knows?
So I'm gonna cut to some comments before we flip the script, to talk about one of the greatest golf courses with drink ninjas and the whole 9 yards ever. Mike G. He doesn't think he thinks the THPers respect the host too much. Don't have a dog mentality. Need a little dog in you.
Can we give a shout out real quick that we have Grandaddy members in the chat? UCX Store. Yes. Neil Javin's in here hanging out, taking time away. You psychopath, go watch this later. Get out of here. Go have fun.
Right. Right. I didn't expect any of the guys to be in it. I figured that they would watch this in the morning. Let's talk about the Hideaway, man. Like, it's such a great place. Oh, and I have great memories of that place, even though
I've seen a lot of great pictures.
Oh, so, yeah. Right. So, Dan, I like the fact that tomorrow's on the Clive. Okay. And the reason is that in a lot of these configurations that we'll get to here in a second, we're getting pops here. We're going to get some at 100% capped, and pops on the Clive, to me, because I think it's the easier. I think it's visually better of the two courses, if that's possible. There's some great vistas on the Clive. Like, y'all take some pictures tomorrow if y'all are there. But I think that pops hurt worse. I think that they're a great equalizer on that course, other than the die, because the die to me was hard. Maybe it was because I was getting beat like I stole something on the die course, because the only time we played it was in singles. What are your thoughts on the Clive and the die?
That's hard. I have some pretty heavy bias towards Clive because, first of all, I got to play my own ball there, which meant I get to focus a lot more on myself, my game, and I played quite well there, which doubles down on your perspective. Now, I do believe it's the better of the two courses to experience. If I had to pick one to play, it would be the Clive. I would probably play 1-9 at the Clive over 18 on the die. But I think I'm a little biased because on the die, I had a ball hit a sprinkler head green side on a par 5 and almost bounce out of bounds. So that's not my favorite place, to be honest with you. But from a pure scoring perspective, I think I like from our guys, I would have liked the Clive for singles more. I think there's
Really?
Yeah, because I think especially if you're playing with pops, I think there's less to miss there. A lot better opportunities to get on the green in 2 or 3 and put pressure on. So
I have my yard. I still in my desk. I keep my yardage book.
I love it.
Now I have a couple yardage books. I have one that is officially signed on the 12th hole of the die course by Jason Finley himself. He sent it to me. He hid a little like Where's Waldo 8 and 6s all through the yardage book. But this isn't it. That's in my shadow box. The back 9 at the club though, man, is so cool. Like there's some really, really good holes on the back there. Like the par 4 12th is great. And the 11th has got all those bunkers surrounding it, the par 3. And then you get to the 13 par 5 where if you could hit a nice little draw and then you may have a chance to go for it in 2. I like the Clive because I think pops hurt more there. I think that if we're getting, then the Clive's where we want to get the pops at, don't you? No, he's shaking his head. He doesn't like the odds makers' opinion of the 2 courses, which is fine.
Real quick, shout out to the Cap. He's live as well. Dimples.
That's crazy.
What's up, buddy?
This is nuts.
Much more
you guys joining.
Much more AT to the chat too. Hit me up, buddy. Hope you're having fun.
I hope that Matty, the Cap's in the house. Holy cow! Who would have thought? Who would have thunk this? Yeah, I mean, so the course itself, for those of you on the home team that have never been there, is impeccable. Okay, it's going to ruin golf for these guys for a while. Just going to let you know, it's going to ruin it. It's going to ruin. There aren't any, like when I came home to play with the litter, there weren't drink ninjas. Okay, that just appeared, you know, with whatever you wanted. There wasn't comfort stations. I mean, some of you may play at a place that's got comfort stations or whatever. Look, you get a Choco Taco, maybe a fish taco also with a turn, whatever you want. I think that I agree with Kev that the parfaits for breakfast are underrated. Like I feel like the sliders have been put over, but the parfait is better.
Wrong.
Dan is no selling this.
He's no selling. He's no selling but the
he just Goldberg
shot. Hey, sliders and Choco Tacos all day long. I don't care what he says. This is a guy who got beat 8 and 6. Do not eat the parfaits.
It's not the worst loss ever, Dan. It's not the worst loss ever. It's such a special place. Take a moment, no matter what happens, to take it in. Like no matter what happens, just concentrate on what you're doing and what your partner's doing. Update the forum about the results of your match, but try not to like get too caught up in what's going on in the matches around you, and take a moment to just soak it all in. That's the one thing that I wish I would have done differently.
So OU Magic asked, no peeing behind the trees at the hideaway. I don't think.
I don't know. You may hit somebody. Like they have these people that are just out of nowhere. Mike G also agrees that he agrees with Dan, not me, that the Clive is a great equalizer for singles. It is the easier place to hit the fairway at, I thought. So maybe there's some merit to that.
But we got some big black lines through driver fittings all day today. So maybe the drivers are the best club in the bag for every single group.
Yeah.
Or
we'll get to the clubs.
We are getting the clubs, right? Everything but the irons. What did we determine there?
It's set. I thought that everything but possibly the irons weren't going to happen. So they're going to have, I think the fairways and the drivers are going to be there. If someone knows in the comments, let us know that, because in order to get ready for the show.
Somebody got, I believe.
Right. I'm not going to say Dan's right.
Yeah. Golfers Anonymous got redacted irons.
So they may have had some. I know that the supply chain issues. I know someone asked that in the comments.
Chris, much more is in the chat. He said everything but irons. So there you go. Driver could be the big boy in play this weekend Right.
The equalizer. Look, if it's anything, what cycle is this? It's not epic. So if it's anything like the Maverick, which was awesome. Okay, I had a Maverick Sub-Zero, and a Maverick 3-wood in my bag. I had a Maverick hybrid, a super hybrid. If it's anything like that, it should be. And they said they got the ball speed faster somehow last night. I think that, well, hold on. Much more is not getting a driver.
He's lefty.
He's a lefty.
But he putts righty.
Wow,
I think he's just confused is what he is.
Right. I mean, I think that he needs to like play from the right side of the course. Mike, you did some research on gear selection. So
I did.
So let's get to that. What were your thoughts as it related to what these guys got fit into?
Well, there's, as you guys alluded to, there's a ton of blacked out driver models on here. So, there's that fairway metals, a lot of blacked out stuff there too. So I'm thinking the woods are kind of be the predominant like redacted clubs for the year. I've seen a lot of
Apexes.
MD4 or MD5, excuse me, and full toes for wedges. Putters seem to be, there's a few redacted putters out there as well.
Let's call them
apexes.
Blades with MOIs of mallets. That's my understanding.
Yep.
Which is very, very interesting. So, I did see a couple utility woods.
Yeah, there's some utility. You got fitted for a utility iron, right?
Yeah. Well, when I was there, I had an X-Forged 4-iron was in my Grandaddy bag. Believe it or not. I almost killed D-Nevs with a vicious shank with that thing and best ball. I digress. That actually segues me. Nerves. Grandaddy nerves, man. Dan, I mean, what do you think about it? It's a nervy experience. It's a nervy experience. Like,
is it?
I mean, I was nervous as all get out.
Huh.
I mean, you may not be. I mean, because you're an exquisite ball striker. For some of us, it's just nervy. Like, it's the same as you're on the tee box at several other events, but it's like that times like 10. Especially if you're playing in a very talkative group, a very chatty group, it can get to you if you're not used to banter.
Well, let's clear up one thing too. If they're starting on Clive, they're starting on a massive par 5 fairway that you really can't. No matter how bad your miss is, unless you duck hook it into the road, you have an opportunity to recover and have at least a chance at birdie, if not a good look at par. So, they're in a condition where it's not the worst thing in the world. And I'm just messing around. Of course, people have nerves. This buildup has been a year to 2 years coming for some of these guys. They want to be successful and play the way they expect to play golf. So, yeah, I mean, it's all about just getting up there. I mean, we know the pairings. I'm assuming that CM24 and Real Pretend are the first two out for our guys, and it's against Finley.
They're all off at the same time.
Yeah, it's a shotgun.
Oh, it's a shotgun. So there you go, dude. That's a big deal. You're not having to face a group of people while you tee off. That's a massive deal. I
think that's an advantage Team THP for sure.
Yeah, I mean it's the first 9 holes. So we'll get to that in a second. But the first 9 holes they play is going to be shamble. Second hunt is best ball. Shotgun start on the Clive, so you may not get to start off with the par 5. But I like that. I think that the fact that you're not, a lot of times at events, everyone's watching. Okay, and including sometimes like JB's filming it to go live, right? You're live in front of the entire THP universe on the first tee. This won't be the same. So I think that maybe it helps the nerves a little bit. I think that in 2017 we did shotgun start on the Clive. It didn't help us. Okay, but this is a different team. This team is loaded with some ballers.
I mean, when you talk about nerves, like the format is also very friendly. Shamble. So if you hit a bad tee shot, to Dan's point, if unless you duck hook it into the road or whatever, like depending on what hole you're on, but you got two guys that can tee off, and that's a great way to kind of settle into that first 9, having the shamble. The shotgun is going to help. My man KY Golfer, shout out, buddy. I see that you're like me. I love the big group being behind me. Hey, that's part of it. You got the camera or whatever, but in this situation, I do think the shotgun start is a good thing for Team THP because you don't have everybody watching. And so if you duff one or hit a bad shot, whatever, it's not the whole universe watching you behind you.
Yeah. What do you think, Dan? You like the shotgun start, obviously.
I mean, I like it for anyone who feels like there's pressure on them. It's not as much fun to watch people squirm. And I know it'll be disappointing for JB that he can only heckle one tee box at a time, So, but I'm kind of curious. We've got guys in the chat. I mean, I saw at least 4 members from the team. If anyone's still sticking around, where are the nerves? How are you guys feeling? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, let us know in the chat. I'm trying to run the banners and the chat at the same time. It's a little bit more difficult. If y'all see something worthwhile in the chat, direct me that way. Let me talk about the format. I've already mentioned it. You start off with shamble, like we said, then it goes to best ball. Not since 2017 has alt shot been or modified alt shot has been part of the format. Do you think that's a big deal, small deal, or no deal to help us in day one? Illiterate.
I don't think it's a big deal to me. No.
Okay. Dan?
I don't know enough about the teams to say one way or the other. I think it all depends on camaraderie. I mean, you have to hit a good shot to start. And as long as you have a guy, I mean, I'm looking at the pairings and I know we're going to get there, but everything comes down to nerves. Everything comes down to, do you have a guy in the pairing who can put it in the fairway? And if they do, then you have pure confidence moving forward. It's just as simple as that. Now, modified alt shot is a little bit unique because you both get to hit your drives, but I don't think in a 9-hole match that is massively damaging or beneficial to either group, especially the way they're laid out.
Look, here's what I would say. I played in the modified alt shot on the Clive. I spent most of the 9 holes asking Cobra where's ball cleared the hazard. Like where should I drop? Right. So, and I was actually playing well that day. And so it does take you a little bit out of it if your partner's out of sorts. I'm glad that it's not in. I'm glad it's not in here, actually. Let's break it down then. So I'm going to move. We're moving right along here, and I want to get to the meat of this. Let's talk about us. Let's talk about our away team. Let's talk about this team that we've sent to try to get this belt back. The combined handicap is 9.4. That is the lowest that we've arrived to the Grandaddy with. I've got all the guys caps at the bottom, although I think I may have missed some here. What
Dimples plus 0.7?
Yeah, and I think I missed everyone after.
And DeCatalyst, the ass cap, his handicap is sliders. Interesting.
They have some big ones in here that I did not get on the scroll. God, I had all day to do this. I'm missing Coop, 14.4. Blaze it in 17.1. I've got these listed on their matches. 17.5 for Golfers Anonymous, 18.9.
You want to start over in 20 minutes or so?
No, can't do that.
Okay.
That's my fault. But I digress. This is from top, sort of we're strong at the top. We have 5, 6 or lesses in this group. Although we do have 3 that are higher than the highest of the zoo crew. What do you think? I mean, y'all took a look at it. Y'all seen the pairings. Y'all seen the combined cap. Y'all seen everyone's handicap. You've probably done some research about their journey here. What do you think about this? I'll start with Dan.
It all comes down to pairings, man. It all comes down to the sort of connection you have with your partner. I mean, if there's a guy with a high cap and his biggest issue is driver, and you have 9 holes where you don't have to hit your driver, yeah, you guys are going to win your match, because I saw it my year. You pair a big driver with a guy who doesn't hit the ball far, but once you get him inside 100 yards, he peppers the hole. Like, what do you do?
Yep.
To me, that's I'm not worried about high caps versus low caps. I'm looking down the list. I'm seeing every pairing have an anchor off the tee. I know is going to hit first in a lot of them. At least I presume. Yeah, I've got no worries about the deviation of our handicaps, the separation, none.
Okay, zero worries. What about you, illiterate?
I mean, I'm with Dan here. I think it's all about how you pair them up. If you've got a guy that struggles off the tee, to Dan's point, and you put him with somebody that's pretty steady and decent iron player, or to that point they're a long driver, but kill it from 115 in or whatever. Man, that's a deadly, very deadly pairing in like a shamble format, like huge. So yeah, I think if you send guys out like that, and again, I think there's connection and camaraderie, I think is very important too. Like, there's personalities that are involved. And it's more than just how their games, to me anyway, I think it's more than just how their games match up or pair up, but the pairings are the biggest part. I mean, and just getting guys comfortable out there, I think is a big deal for sure.
By the way, I fixed the scroll. So
perfect. It's working now.
That just means he wasn't listening to us, Mike.
That's right.
I was going to attempt to talk about this. I think that if you look at it, like a Kentucky golfers here with some comments about blazing, and we'll get to who we think are some sleepers. I'm about to ask y'all that. I think that for the first time, since they do have the lowest combined cap that we've seen, I do think that it provided Captain Dimples with some options, a little bit more options than maybe the last three captains had, as it related, and we'll get to his pairings in a second, as it related to how he put the pairings together. I sent Dan a text in show prep and asked you point blank, did you help? Because I thought these were great.
I did not, actually, not at all.
Well,
I mean, I'll take credit because he can't argue. I mean, he might post in chat, but no one reads that. So, no, I didn't at all. This man has been building this up for a long time, filling the gaps the way he needs to.
We'll get to the matches in a second, but I'll tell you why I really liked his pairings when we get there, and I did, and there are some odds that I posted for the guys that are watching. Entertainment purposes only. I'm absolutely rooting. I'm a big Team THP fan here. Let's talk about the Zoo Crew.
Why? What's the point?
Well, I mean, they are reigning, defending champions here.
All right.
So when you look at the Zoo Crew, like someone like me or even illiterate, we would be like the 9th lowest cap on their team, 10th for me, 9th for illiterate. Very intimidating if you just look at it by the numbers, right? Captain Finley, who's got, by the way, I ran his career record winning percentage at the Grandaddy is a .666. Yeah.
And he just shot a what? Sorry, a 90 what?
Yeah, we'll get to Finley here in a second. He shot an avalanche of strokes on the front nine of THP National.
A 10.
A 10.
Yeah,
a 10.
There was a 10 in there. If you look at this group, in its totality, they seem like they're built for singles, right? In the Zoo Crew's singles record since 2014 is 47-23.
It's better than winning 2/3 of the matches there.
Right. Dan's he's gonna no sell me again. They have several guys on this team that have event experience. Like Captain Finley, 12-6-4. He's 5-1 in singles. Okay. Luke, the THP killer himself, he's 12-2-1 since 2016. He's 4-0. He's never lost a singles match. J-Rod makes a return. He hasn't played since 2015. He's 6-2 in his matches, and he's 2-0 in singles. Ethan, 13, 7-3, 4-2 in singles. D-Neffs has a better winning. Okay. D-Neffs is 13, 4-5. He's 5-1 in singles. His winning percentage is .765. It is better than Finley's in the history of the Grandaddy. Jeff Newton makes a return. He played against you in 2016. He's 2-2, and he lost the singles match. And Lexi's back after a 2-1 performance, winning her singles match in 2019. What jumps out at you? I just gave you a rundown. Took a lot of notes on the Zoo Crew. Don't no sell me here. What jumps out at you? I'll go with illiterate first, since Dan's gonna no sell me anyway.
Well, as Dan would say, beatable. I mean, these guys are gettable. Like you can't look at this and say, hey, because the past doesn't matter. Like what they did last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever, doesn't matter. It's about what they do this weekend and what our guys do. And our guys can control what they do. It's just go out there, play your game, and have fun. And don't get caught up in, hey, this is the Zoo Crew. I've got new shiny equipment. It's, hey, go out and play golf, play your game, and have fun. And if you do that, these guys are beatable. Every single one of them.
I don't disagree. I mean, we'll get to that. I mean, I haven't made an official pick yet. I was just throwing it out there for context. You know, like, look, these guys, they come to play. Some of them have a whole lot of experience, and even the guys that don't have a whole lot of experience, they arrive, and Kim also arrives with very low handicaps. We'll see how it translates to the Hideaway when we get there. But both of you are like beatable. Got it. Let's break down.
Here's the thing too. The thing about low handicaps is you got to play to that low handicap. You know, when you're giving pops and you get a guy that's playing well, you know, they can be very tough to beat if if you got guys that play with, fairly close to their handicap. So you still got to play. Like, you're the one that's got to play. So really, in my opinion, pressure's on them to play. Like, they got to show up and play well, because if they don't, they're beatable. Like, just like Dan said.
Is it my turn?
Yes.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yes, Dan, it's your turn.
Huh. Let's start with fact number 1. Our team might, for the first time in history, have better chemistry than the Zoo Crew does. I'm putting that out there right now. Argue with me all you want. You're wrong. That's 1.
I wasn't
number. Yeah, you would. Number 2, dude, you are a fanboy. It does not matter.
Okay, go ahead, Dan.
Number 2, you talk all about these guys' history, their records in the past. Those scores are still on their handicaps. The best way to not play golf is to join the golf industry. That's reality. I mean, Finley hasn't played since his debauchery in Florida. And these guys don't play golf. That's just a reality. So you have guys on our team who are 100% ready to go, are going to play to their handicap against dudes who haven't played in years. What's the point of a handicap if you only put 5 scores up a year?
That's true. And so that brings me to a great segue. Let's talk about Captain Finley for a second before I go into the matches.
I know you want to talk about Finley more. It's been your goal. Let's go.
Not talking about Finley.
Why don't you just refer to Finley the same way you do in the forum as Mr. Finley? Just bow
okay,
down on the show to him like you do on the forum.
We will talk about Mr. Finley. He has a track record of playing lackluster in tune-up events. Okay, so 2017, he goes to Callaway Hype, shoots a 93, backdoors like everyone that went there beat him on that, at least on that second day.
Sorry, when was this?
2017. I'm going to get to
2017.
Yeah.
How many years ago was that?
Right, 28. So let's go to 20.
That score is still on his handicap.
Well, listen,
he's
20,
aging.
20. We're gonna do this. 2019. He goes THP Championship. They get routed. Him and his partner. This year, 2021, he doesn't play very well at the Dream Foursome, right? But before this year and those 2 other times, he came ready. By the time they walked through the hollow grounds and the hollow gates of the Hideaway, with his best stuff. Has the captain lost a step? Illiterate, I'll go to you first. Do you think Finley's lost a step?
I mean, you made some great points. Finley has come in kind of like, limping into these events before, and then he kind of turns it on for the Grandaddy. One thing he does have an advantage of is he knows the course. He plays it. I think his 2017 Grandaddy score is still on his handicap, but he does play the course. He knows it. He does have an advantage there, but he's getting up there in age. He's a little bit older. I can speak to that as a guy that's close to turning 40. Things don't you don't feel as great in the morning. So for him to have to go out there, play 27 holes potentially, then play another 18 the next day, I mean, that could be a big deal. So but he's still Finley. I mean, he's still a killer. He's still a killer, but he's beatable though.
He's got bigger bag issues than Dax does right now. He doesn't know what irons he's bringing as of last week. He doesn't. He's and let's factor in the real big one here is that he's playing a very good golfer.
We'll get to that.
But how can we not talk about that right now? The reality is you don't make mistakes like that as a plus handicap golfer. You just don't.
Normally he doesn't get. Here's the thing. I think that what we're going to see is, remember Emmitt Smith in a Cardinals jersey?
Who?
Okay,
Emmitt Smith.
That's forgot. You're a Canadian. You don't.
Or Brett Favre in a Jets jersey.
Yeah.
Who?
We're about to find out whether or not we're gonna get regular Finley, like Emmitt Smith with the double stars and running all over the Eagles for 200 on a separated shoulder, or are we gonna get Emmitt Smith in a Cardinals jersey that's lost a step? I think that we'll find out. So we're gonna segue because matches 1 and 7 have Finley in them. Okay, so let's talk about matches 1 and 7. It's Real Pretend Psychic with CM24, and look, these our team's names are a lot easier to pronounce.
You haven't mispronounced one yet.
Not yet. Not yet. Wait till we get later on, maybe. They catch Finley and Kim. 6 and a 4 go out together. 2 lows. We go low mid with this pairing. It is very close. I think that I've got this one just us as a slight favorite here. And I know that's crazy, but Finley has been gettable in the team format. Believe it or not, he's got a great singles record, but he's been very gettable in the team format. I made Real Pretend Psychic and CM24 minus 150. The comeback on Finley and Kim plus 130. Illiterate, we'll start with you.
So I love the kind of this mid-low pairing here. And then you've got kind of a, low pairing essentially. Maybe, I don't know if you call them mids, but I love the mid-low pairing. I really like Team THP in this first and 7th match. Really like that a lot. Dimples did a great job putting that there.
Before I go to Dan, in the 7th match, I made Real Pretend Psychic and CM24 minus 175. The comeback on Finley and Kim plus 145. I made Finley a dog in both matches 1 and 7, and I'll probably eat my words for it. Dan, what are your thoughts here?
I'm going with the chat. THP wins 3 and 2. I love it.
Okay, 3 and 2, both matches. The 9-hole matches, like we've all played in situations where the 9-hole matches occur. Do you think it's a big deal, small deal, no deal? It's a 9-hole match. Dan.
Small deal. I think the fact that it carries over is challenging because anyone who's can get a little salty out there has a lot to prove in best ball, which is interesting because you go from a team format to more of an individual thing, especially if your partner's in pocket. I look for the guys who are more even keel to have the best opportunity in 2 9-hole matches. You don't have the opportunity to grind that. So I'm featuring the guys who are more consistent here.
I think that, Real Pretend Psychic just makes a really good comment. The mid caps are dangerous. They're just dangerous in these formats. because the mid caps tend to be able to make a par out of nowhere, and then sometimes there's blow up holes. That's why they're in mid cap. I like this pairing a lot from the captain, and I like us in both of these matches. Believe it or not, matches 1 and 7, I have us as a favorite, and I like us in both.
Mm-hmm.
Were you going to say something, Dan, or are you going to let me move to
I'm just ready for this one. I'll go first here.
Okay. Match 2 and 8. Let me set it up. Much more. My man. 5.8. He goes out with X-Thor. Still pronunciations on point. 6.2 against J-Rod and Jeff Newton. Basically 11s together. They'll probably adjust it at the Callaway. Probably play it like 12 or 13. What you got, Dan?
Yeah. Well, I mean, first of all, X-Thor is a dominant performer on the golf course. He's won more shop credit at his golf course this year than you could even imagine, to the point where he's sending me clothes as a payment for a Toulon putter I hooked him up with. So, I mean, this pairing, much more an X-Thor, might be my go-to pairing for day one. This is my lock-in.
This is Stone Cold lead pipe lock of the cinch.
I made before we go to illiterate, I made in match 2 in Shamble. I made much more in X-Thor minus 180. The comeback on J-Rod and Jeff Newton plus 150 in match 8. I liked them better in best ball than I liked them in Shamble. I made them minus 220 to win that match. Comeback plus 175. Illiterate.
I'm with Dan here. I like Team THP in this spot. Just one thing to kind of keep in mind, though, and I think this is part of it, and why the Zoo Crew has a bit of an advantage. These guys are going to roll out brand new wedges, putters that they're not necessarily used to, like all new clubs. So they're going to go out there and try to get a feel, especially this first 9. But if they go out there and play well, with it, and you kind of have that honeymoon period with the clubs, I mean, definitely. But I love this kind of like low mid type pairing. I mean, and to Dan's point, all the shop credit. I just got some shop credit this past weekend at my club. It's great. If you want to hook me up with a Toulon putter, I'll start sending you some clothes.
We're talking thousands here, not a small amount. And let's also make a point. I had him put a putter he'd never used before in the bag, and he had 27 putts last time he was at my course. So, and I also heard that he put a driver in the bag today that gave him huge gains.
Wow.
What can you say, boys? I mean, that's
pretty sweet.
That's reality.
I like Team THP in both the matches here. And because I think much more is going to be steady, and I think that X-Thor is going to bring it. Now, look, Mike G made a good point in the chat. J-Rod is dangerous. He's dangerous, man. He's sneaky. 6-2 lifetime. And a lot of these matches have gone, even the 2 losses were like right there at the last hole. But Jeff's been gettable. He's got a very pedestrian Grandaddy record. And maybe if Captain Finley would put J-Rod with someone else, I would have liked them more in this spot, but I like us in both of these matches.
Are you saying this may be Finley's throwaway pairing?
Maybe. I didn't call them that though. No.
So apparently I did help Matty Dimples with the pairings a little bit, not to the extent I thought. So thanks for either not taking advice or going all in with it, buddy. I hope it works out.
So let's talk about matches 3 and 9, because I think they're pivotal. 93 Coupe, Civic Coupe. I'm just going to call him Coupe. He needs a new name. Coupe with Captain Dimples. They go out against Luke and Lexi. Interesting thing here is that Captain Finley used Luke and Lexi as his day one pairing in 2019. They went 1-1. They lost Shamble and won best ball. Thoughts, Dan? I'll go to Dan first.
Yeah, the Shamble thing's interesting because it makes it super dangerous when someone can bomb the ball like Luke. I saw it firsthand. Him and Villardo had a little bit of fun in Shamble against me, actually. Mm-hmm. But you have to give it to the same side, looking the other way. Matty D pounds the ball. You have a guy who's one of their higher caps joining him in my guy's Civic Coupe. And Yeah, I think this is a really balanced match. I'm not going to make any claims here. I think I might see our first half of the Grandaddy out of this group.
Before I get to Mike, I made in match 3 in Shamble, I made Civic Coupe and Captain Dimples minus 160 comeback on Luke and Lexi plus 120. And then I went with them again in match 9. I made Coupe and Dimples a favorite minus 200 comeback plus 160 in that match in best ball. So I'll get to Literate in a second. I'll go first here before him. I like us in both of these matches. Although Luke and Lexi, they brought in 2019. That match was decided at the very end, the one that they lost, and then they won the Shamble format 3-2. So Literate, what are your thoughts here?
So first off, I think this is kind of a heavyweight match. You got Dimples and Luke going toe to toe here, which I love. Absolutely love this. And you got Coop and Lexi. Something is telling me inside that like I want to go Team THP here, but something is telling me that this one may tilt towards the Zoo Crew. So I'm going to go Zoo Crew on both of these. But trust me, guys, I'm rooting for Team THP, but I just have a feeling that this one's going to go the Zoo Crew way.
So I will say this: Luke has only lost twice at the Grandaddy.
Yes,
one of those two times he was paired with Lexi. So I still like us in both of those matches. Coop, he's not going to mind me saying this because I've talked to Coop extensively in the past. He's gonna have to play. Like he talked about it on the video. Didn't play as well as he wanted to at another big team event. He's gonna have to bring it to tomorrow because Luke is very daunting whenever you catch him in any sort of format. We'll move to match 4 and 10. Nappy, 18.9. He gets paired with Vader, 10.5, who was great with his scripting. I thought the scripting was great all day today. They catch Austin, 1.5, and Ethan, 6.2. Literate, we'll start with you.
I'm gonna go Zoo Crew here. That's a tough pairing, I think, for kind of a mid-high group to try to come back and play. I think one thing that just naturally happens if you're a higher handicap guy and you're paired up against some low handicaps that are pretty steady, you can just kind of get caught up in the moment because, hey, we're, at me who's playing around a 9 and you got somebody that's playing maybe close to a 19 or 20 or whatever. And, they're just steady. They're making par. And then, as a mid or even a high, like you're going to have those blow up holes. So I think it's important to just continue to play within yourself and realize, hey, it's one hole at a time. That being said, there are only 9 holes. So you do have to kind of go out there and play. There's not a lot of holes. If you do get down early, you don't have a lot of time to kind of crawl back into this thing. So it is good. I would say it's important for Team THP in this particular match to start out well. Because if they get behind early, I could see it really getting, kind of going to the Zoo Crew's way. So I'm going Zoo Crew here on this match.
Before I get to Dan, of our pairings, this one is the Papa-Palooza. This one will get the most.
Yep.
Of any of the other pairings that Captain Dimples threw out there. I made Austin and Ethan minus 300 in Shamble, comeback on Nappy and Vader plus 240. And then in match 10, it was almost the same thing. I made Austin and Ethan minus 300, comeback plus 240. Dan, what are your thoughts about the Papa-Palooza here?
Well, first off, let me say Austin's my boy. I had a blast playing with him a couple years ago. He's a good player. I don't think Ethan and I have had a chance to play, but I know he's been there and done that. So I like them for best ball for sure. But the Shamble's so curious, man. The Shamble's where everything gets really interesting. With that many pops on the course they're playing on, they might be able to squeak one out there. If not a half, then maybe a win because you eliminate one bad shot every hole up against 2 guys who are likely not to hit that bad shot, especially not off the tee.
Yep.
I feel pretty good about them in Shamble. Why not?
Ethan's record at the Granddaddy's 13-7-3, 4-2 in singles. I think that there's some merit to saying, look, it's a 9-hole match and you can pop them and drop them here. But I like Zoo Crew probably in both of these matches, but I don't know if Captain Dimples. Look, if I give Captain Dimples a half somewhere in these two matches, he'll take it. He'll take it and run. Especially if he could get 2 halves out of this, if he could somehow get a point from this pairing, he's gonna feel like he stole something from the Zoo Crew.
Well, that's the curious part, right? Because both Vader and Nappy got good rests last night. They'll probably do it again tonight.
Well, they're going to the nest tonight.
We could see Nappy come out big tomorrow and put a little bit of a dent in that 18.9.
Look, big deal, small deal, no deal, and they're going to the nest tonight.
Are they doing that?
Mm-hmm.
The nest is always a big deal.
It's a big deal. I think it's a big deal, man. I think it's a big deal, especially
what do you think? Big deal.
Especially from the day 0 crew. This will be 3 nights in a row that they've gone out. I'm just letting you know. We've got Donnie says that Vader can move the ball. I have no doubt. Look, Austin and Ethan kill McConness. That is Mike G's pick.
The nest is a great equalizer.
The nest is a great equalizer. Look,
I'm gonna have to send a couple PMs after this. So
right. I mean, I think that the ASCAP DeCatalyst has his hands full tonight because he's gonna have to look. Normally, like I said, at the end of day 1, there's only been 3 times we've been within striking range, and a lot of times it doesn't really matter. You get dropped off at the nest. Make sure you take a picture with the clown. Try to be on the first Uber out, or you're going to need an IV the next day. But they're going before they start to play. I didn't even know about this when I made the odds, and some of these guys, this will be night 3 in a row for them to have gone out. All right, match. 5 and 11, A Fizzle with a bunch of numbers. I don't do numbers, A Fizzle. Okay. Again, and Blazington, 8.7. Blazington?
Okay. We're good.
Blazington?
We're good.
Okay. I mean, I have not been corrected yet, and I've almost gotten all the way through the names here. So
the next group's gonna throw them off. Watch.
Right. They go out against D-Nevs and Nick, 7.8. In 2.8, just to let you know, I made in match 5 in Shamble, I made D-Nevs and Nick minus 200. Come back on A Fizzle and Blazington plus 175. In match 11, I liked D-Nevs more in best ball. And Nick in best ball, I made a minus 300. The comeback on A Fizzle and Blazington was plus 225. Dan, we'll start with you here.
Well, had you have asked me this morning, I'd have had a different opinion. Okay. But I sat in my basement rolling putts on a green with these boys, 2 of them that are in this pairing here, and saw what Blazington can do with a mallet versus a blade. And I heard rumors he got fit to a blade today. So that is disappointing to say the least. And I've heard good things about the new technology coming out from Odyssey, but I don't know.
So we have a question here from Billy H. When is the last time D-Nevs played really well? Well, I mean, his winning percentage at the Granddaddy is 0.76. Really played.
When was the last time that he really played golf, I think is the question.
Oh, okay. Well, he's played well here, okay, including some undefeated. 2014 was undefeated. 2016 was undefeated. In a losing effort, he was undefeated. He was 3-0-1 against Dan and them. 2017 against us, 3-1. He's played well. I don't know how much he's played. Probably not a whole lot. There is a confirmation that I guess Blazington was fit into a blade. So illiterate. What do you think, man?
I'm going Zoo Crew here. Mike G is saying to slow play D-Nevs, and that'll get in his head. He hates that, but
so does JB.
so does JB, right? So JB will be with this group all day, I imagine, tomorrow. But
Right,
no, I'm going Zoo Crew here.
Okay. I like Zukru in both these matches, actually. And so look, someone asked whether or not the way I was handicapping this, I think that day 2 would matter. I absolutely do. We'll get there in a second. Matches 6 and 12 could be very, very important. Golfers Anonymous, 17.5. And this is going to slip me up, man. I don't even know. Teviner?
Earlier on the
Trevnar?
phone, it was Teviner, and
I tried to add an R in there. I think it should be Trevnar. Teviner. Okay.
Yeah.
4.3. He goes out against Johnny Callaway, Johnny Wonder, at a 0, and Royce 5.5. Illiterate. We'll start with you.
Okay, so y'all know my boy Sean Teviner, or Treviner as you tried to call him earlier. I've seen him play. He's battle tested. He's played a lot of amateur golf events and stuff this past year and done really, really well. I know he's ready for this and getting fit. I've seen him get fit with the proper equipment at a previous event. What that will do for him, and so I really like him. So I'm putting him over, and I'm early calling my possible MVP candidate is Teviner here. Golfers Anonymous, I love the low-high pairing here, and I'm going Team THP in this one right here.
So it's a low from the Zoo Crew against a low high from us. No alternate shot here to worry about. So Dan, what do you think?
5 and 4, Team THP slides.
Okay.
Team THP is my choice here. It's simple.
I made Johnny Wonder and Royce -300 in the first match. Also made a -300 in the second match. Both comebacks are +225. We don't know. I mean, both of these guys from the Zoo Crew, I don't have a whole lot of information on them besides what I can read about their games. I think that Teviner. Teviner. Look, there just needs to add an R. I know that
Trevner.
the name Trevner. It's from a short story that he wrote. I think back in college, and he uses it.
Do we have like an all-time scoring record for the guys you can't pronounce? I'm really curious about this now.
Well, I know that at other events,
event to event, tracking this.
Right. Because it's usually the guys that I can't pronounce or giving them a new name that go out there and light it up the next day. Like they just all of a sudden they go undefeated, and I still continue to get their name wrong the entire time. This group from us is at 100% is going to get a bunch of pops.
New driver, hit the fairway. Golfers Anonymous is an honest, decent guy. He's going to hit the green. He might make a putt. He's going to upset them. It's going to be fun. They win.
And for all the heat that I'm catching in the comments, like I've got this 3 to, basically 3 for THP and 3 for the, 3 for the Zoo Crew. So I'm definitely Team THP here.
Exactly. Someone said Teviner sounds like some sort of wizard. Okay. Well, I hope he's got magic. Tomorrow, Mike G wants us to consider that both Luke and J-Rod are taking guys doing that. Yeah, we've talked about that.
He has the redacted magic.
The magic of the redacted. The water side was expecting to see a miss. One miss out of 12 of these form names. Fortunately, there wasn't like a bunch of numbers.
Pretty basic, yeah.
Right. These are pretty basic. I will say this. I have, if chalk holds, I've got this thing even. I got this thing even going into singles. And if they get points from a couple of these groups, I don't expect it, we could be leading for the first time. We have never led after day 1 at the Grandaddy, ever in the history of the event. Now, that brings me to their... So let's talk about this. We only know one of the singles matches. Captain Finley versus Captain Dimples. We've talked a lot about this.
Is that locked in?
God, I hope so. I don't look. I
Yes, it
don't
is.
think. No, this is happening. Okay, this has been 2 years in the making for Captain Dimples. This is happening. You don't go to the Grandaddy and not try to become a legend. You don't go out there and call J Rod's name when it's time. No. The captain's going to go out there and he's going to take care of business because he's gonna get this done for all of us. I mentioned Finley not playing well in several other lead ups to the Grandaddy. Y'all don't think it seems to matter. Let's talk about this match. It's the only one that we know about that's going to go down in singles. Dan, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts on this one? Does Dimples put the 2 and 5 in 2? The only other time that Finley had lost is to JDax 2014. He lost 5 and 4. Yes, he lost to Jeremy 5 and 4 at the Grandaddy in 2014.
JDax?
Yeah.
JDax.
JDax. I said T.
You had a chance. You should have just stopped naming names. That one guy, Jeremy, it should have been done.
Jeremy.
Here's the truth, right? Our buddy Dimples plays golf. He's not afraid of competitive golf. He's going to go out there and do what he needs to do. Finley is going to have to play not just his game, but better than his game to win. It's as simple as that. And everything we've heard between the lack of prep from him, the bag battles that are going on that are just disastrous, I've heard. Why would we not take the guy who's been playing all year long in conditions that put pressure on you? And not just take him, expect him to win early.
So do you think that, I mean, is there a Grandaddy guy where Dimples wins 8 and 6 or something like that?
No, that's reserved for people like what? I didn't understand
people like who, Dan?
I didn't understand the question.
Illiterate?
I mean, let me jump in here.
Okay.
I'm gonna call a win for Dimples, and it's gonna be big. It's gonna be big. Dan hit a bunch of great points. Like, gosh, I love this because like it's kind of like we finally have somebody that is a. I want to drop an F-bomb, but I'm going to not do it right now because I don't know who's watching. But we got a guy that can freaking golf his ball, and Finley did not have a great showing, so he's really going to have to turn this thing around. And we've seen him do it, but Dimples is not going to back down. And man, I like Dimples huge. No, it's not going to be 10 and 8, Scooby, but it's going to be big. I'm talking 6 and 5, 5 and 4, or something like that. I think Dimples takes it to him. He's hungry, and I don't think Finley's is hungry.
I can't do it. I want to.
What can't you do? You are the guy. You are the odds guy. There is nothing other than your love for Finley that suggests he's going to take this match.
Yes, exactly.
Look, Finley's getting 8 here.
I need you to look at me, bud.
I'm looking at you. Finley's getting 8. If you look at his singles record, besides the loss to Jeremy, normally Finley's laying in these spots. He beat Texas Hacker 6 and 5 twice. He lost to Jeremy. He beat some guy named Drew Z on your team 6 and 4. The before mentioned 8 and 6, and then he took Captain McLovin 7 and 6. I mean, yeah, give me Dimples. Fine. Y'all
he did it.
Give me Dimples. Give me Dimples, and just. I don't think that it's I don't think
it's one up.
Right. I don't think that it's like a blowout. I don't think that it's 5 and 4. I think that it goes to the end. I can see something like 3 and 1 happening. I think it goes late, but I think that the Captain Finley's magic, maybe it runs out. But it's going to be interesting. So we've been on here a little while, a little over an hour now, and I appreciate the 30 or so people that have stuck with us the entire time. But it's time to get some final thoughts and predictions. Who is going to win this belt at the end of this? Do we have enough? Literally, I'll start with you because I'll go to Dan and I'll end it.
Well, man, I'm gonna tell you guys in the THP universe. Coming into this, I had in my mind that I was gonna go Zoo Crew. However, I feel like I've convinced myself in this that I'm totally going Team THP. We're gonna bring the belt back home, and I know I said it's going to be kind of like halved at the end of day one, but I'm going to go ahead and call it that Team THP is ahead at the end of day one somehow, even against my own prediction before. But Team THP, it's not going to be by much, maybe a half or 1 point, but that carries over into day two. And I think Team THP is going to win this. And I don't think it's going to be super close.
Okay, Dan, it's not going to be super close. Okay, Dan.
I've got info from the ground here. I'm doing from the ground reporting.
Okay.
Tonight will not matter. So hang your emotions on the nest all you want based on years past. These guys are on a different level. I have that from a very reputable source on the ground in California.
Really?
Very reputable.
I mean, you think they at least take a picture with the clown? Like that?
I think they go. I think they're curious. But there's more than one way to be curious at the nest and not have to tell stories about it for the next decade, which we've had our guys in the past. I genuinely think these guys are in this for different – they look at this in a different way than we have in the past. And that's not negative or positive. That's just their goal is to go out there and win. And I don't think they're going to let one night at an insane over whatever bar wreck that potential.
This is the biggest. This is the biggest amount. If you saw the team picture, this is the biggest amount of nest bait that we've ever rolled in there with. You're just throwing it out there. They're gonna, and now look, it's gonna be a Tuesday night. That place is always hopping no matter what night it is. There's going to be some weird guy playing the keyboard with Barry Manilow.
But see, this is what I'm talking about, man. Your year, you must have been all over it because you were like mentally invested in the nest. I don't think these guys are. They're not looking at it from an 8-6 perspective, my guy.
Look, when I was for the record, when I was at the nest, 8-6 had not occurred. Had not occurred. Okay. That 8-6 was not happening. Not yet. I mean, it's rough, man. Like did you go, Dan, or did you stay on the bus? I
sure did. Okay. I went. Are you kidding me? I captained that team so hard. There's no chance I wasn't watching every move they made. I mean, some of those boys I had to watch very closely.
Look, Dan has been a savage to me. It's okay. I still love Dan.
I wouldn't be. Hey, if you were more pro Team THP and not so pro Finley, I wouldn't have given you half of what you've gotten. That's on that. I'm doing that for everyone else, not for me.
Well, so you're predicting. So Mike doesn't think it's going to be close. Mike, you got a point. You got a point. 12.5 wins. 12.5 wins it.
Lord, gosh, you put me on the spot. Hang on. I'm going 15-9.
Okay. Dan, do you have a score prediction?
No.
15-9.
I do not have a score prediction. I don't see the point. I think there are too many variables in play. I think the chance from some loaded singles matches holds me back on that. I think both teams are competitive after day one, and I'll make that concession now, even though I think I mostly took THP in our predictions. Mm-hmm. I do think it's competitive after day one, and I think it's up to the guys to showcase what they've been working up to in singles. I'm just saying this team, I mean, I'm talking to one of them right now, and it's not like, hey, I'm talking to you, that he's like, hey, the team says hi. Like, they're in it to win it. They want to do this for each other. That's a big deal.
Before I get to my prediction, I will say this. I think that the first 9 hole matches are extremely important tomorrow. In 2016, y'all were down like 5. Y'all were down almost 5 points at the end of that first stanza, or 4.5 points or something. Y'all were down a lot. Y'all got jumped out of the
Who
gate.
was that? My team?
Yeah, your team got jumped out of the gate.
Short memory, buddy. It doesn't matter.
And then y'all started calling back. There isn't a third 9 here to try to rally a comeback. So if you get into a hole in that first 9, it's gonna be really hard to climb out. The Zoo Crew has been dominant over the years in singles, but this is the first time that we've arrived with 5, 6 or lower handicaps. And so their inherent advantage in singles is not as much as it normally is. So give me Team THP to win the Grandaddy. I'm going to pick us.
My boy.
But in normal, I would not be surprised if this goes either way. I do not think that we get run out of the building on day 1. I think that it could be even tied or us up a half or maybe even a point. That would be obviously more optimal. I think that it's 6 versus 6 going into the singles session, and I think that we find a way to win 7 points in singles, and we win the cup. I mean, not the cup. I'm waiting for October for the cup. We win the belt. But it's going to be tough. I do not see a coronation. In order to get to Mike's score, you're going to have to like jump them. And I don't see that happening. I think it's going to be very tight the entire way. And I honestly believe that this is the one that we've been waiting on 2 years in the making for Captain Dimples. And he finds a way to get it done. Any final thoughts before we cut it off?
Look, I know I said 15-9. I was kind of being funny, but
yes, you said 15-9.
But
lock it in.
You lock it in.
I'm telling you now, this is. I know we're trying to build this thing up and everything like that, but I really feel like after kind of looking at this, hearing your thoughts, hearing Dan's thoughts, I'm convinced even more that prediction can happen. Like we got somebody saying 13-11. I don't think it's that close. 13-11 Team THP for you. I'm going 15-9. I'm sticking to it. I may look like an idiot come, a few days from now, but I'm sticking to it. And I think we're going to be up pretty good on day 1. I mean, this could go south really quick for the Zoo Crew on day 1. Like, look at those pairings.
I don't. Yeah. He's going 15-9. I'm going with Donnie here. Donnie likes my pick of 13-11. In fact, I think this is 13-11 either way, by the way. I think it's 13. If Zoo Crew pulls it out, I think that it's 13-11 their way. I think that the key, one of the pivotal points is going to be Dimples in Finley's match. But I'm going to stick with my prediction. I like us to finally get it out. So I don't know how you feel about that, Dan. Is Team Unity like the 72 Dolphins? Are y'all going to be waiting? Are you rooting? Obviously, you have a rooting interest. The rest of the Team Unity, the only team that has ever won at the Grandaddy. Do you think that if they do pull this off, is it going to be happy or sad?
Hey, listen, what we did was not meant to be not replicated. We just wanted to prove a point that it could be done. Anything from here, I want THP to win every single year. I think that's represented well here. If we're doing final thoughts at this point, I do want to give you love, my guy, for doing these and putting up with my nonsense. I hope it was entertaining for you because it was fun all the way through. Change your tune about Finley and maybe it goes a little different way. But yeah, I want the guys to go out there and have an incredible time, play golf that they're capable of playing in a condition where they've worked so hard as a group to not only bring this event to the forum, but introduce that friendship, that family, that brotherhood with each other. It would be so unfortunate to see them not at least play to their ability. And that's really what I'm hoping for. And I think if that happens, THP will win.
Mike, final thoughts.
These guys have worked so hard, and Callaway, the Zoo Crew, they're such great sponsors of this event, and I'm very grateful that we get to be a part of it. And I say we as team, THP Universe. It's hard to put into words. Just I think how grateful our community is for this event and for Callaway and the Zoo Crew coming and putting this on. But final thoughts about the actual event and the competition. I do like Team THP here, and I'm super excited to see how this stuff plays out over the next couple of days. It's going to be great. And you guys tune in, strap in your seatbelts, and man, this is going to be a fun one. I love it.
The other thing is, shout out to everyone on the forum, man, because we're at over 4,000 posts following along with this thing. Mm-hmm. Shout out to every one of you guys who are fiending for more Grandaddy stuff. That's what I do. I love the text. I live for the pictures from the guys. So shout out to you guys on the ground who are somehow finding a way to watch this, but also big love to those of you on the forum who are regular members taking this in the same way I am. 4,000 posts.
Yeah, 4,000 posts is incredible. And for the, however many of you that are online watching this right now, we've been doing this for almost an hour and a half. Thank you for tuning in. For those of you that aren't live and going to tune in, thank you for sitting through this. It's truly fun, to come out here, hang out with Dax and Dan and do these. So, you guys make it great. Thank you.
Here's what I'm going to say at the end of this. For the guys that watch this later that are on the away team, there's something that's called sort of like Grandaddy blues when this is over with. And so take a moment, no matter what's going on, to just take it all in. Just take a moment for yourself and take it all in. Because when this is over with, there is a little bit of melancholy that sets in, no doubt, from anyone that's ever experienced the event. I set the OU on the number of posts at 6,100 and a half. We're going to blow that out. We're going to blow that out. We're already over at 4,000. I think the OU on the pages was like 244. That's going to get trashed at some point tomorrow with a full day left. So hats off to the entire community for watching this. I couldn't be prouder of this team. I think that you're going to represent us well. And I hope that there's an announcement that the Grandaddy endures and it lives on after this group is done with it, because your primary job is to leave it better than you found it. So good luck. Don't die. Try to win. But if you don't, that's fine. So 4, Canadan, the man that put the 1 in 6-1. Off course this week. Drop still Friday, right, Dan?
It is yet to be determined who will be joining me, and hopefully I have a voice tomorrow. Thanks for putting up with cold number 2 and week number 2. So appreciate that. But yeah, we'll get something up there. Maybe talk about Grandaddy a bit more. Good.
And for my compadre and Karam on these, also 2018 THP champion, illiterate. This is JDax signing off. Thanks, guys, for watching.